How many times has this happened to you? I'm having a great time writing this paper. I know that this is going to get an A. My professor is really going to love it. Oh wait! I've now got crippling writer's block! Oh no! And I'm still 4 pages short of the 5 pages I need to write for this assignment. What am I going to do? Well, now you don't have to. I'm your host, Guy Selgoods, and I'm here to tell you about a revolutionary new system to ensure that you, yes, you, never have to deal with writer's block again. This system is the Stop Writer's Block Now program. It'll bring you videos from some of history's greatest writers to help you overcome your writer's block. You can get advice from greats like William Shakespeare, Jane Austen, Charles Dickens, Dwight Schrute from The Office, the Pope, and the guy who writes the labels for Heinz Ketchup. All of these videos can be yours for the low, low price of $13.99. But wait, order now and we'll double your offer. You get 2, count 'em, 2 copies of each video. But that's not all. If you call within the next 37 seconds, you'll also get our special master's class featuring Guy Fieri. Now you might be wondering, gee Guy, that sounds great, but does it really work? Well, just listen to these testimonials from real customers. I was really struggling with my writing, but then I used the Stop Writer's Block Now program, and not only did I get an A, I got an A+. That's right, I couldn't have said it better myself. Now, if you're interested in this revolutionary new system, all you need to do to order is call 555 Stop Writer's Block Now. That's 555 Stop Writer's Block Now. Operators are standing by to take your credit card information. Hey everyone. So this episode of Writing Notes has started with a little bit of bizarre fun, but I opened with that mock infomercial because infomercials are a great way of understanding the AIDA system. Now, the AIDA system is a 4-stage writing process for organizing persuasive writing. And I'm going to refer to it as a writing system, but it's really sort of an argumentative system. I mean, you can, obviously the same logic applies to viewers, such as viewers of infomercials, or people listening to political speeches, things like this. Anytime you're trying to persuade someone of someone, the AIDA system is something you can use. But I'm going to be talking about it particularly in terms of writing. And as I take you through each of these 4 phases for the AIDA process, I'm also going to refer back to what we saw in that mock infomercial to try and sort of illustrate how some of these things might work. So the first step in the AIDA system is attention. That's our initial A. So basically you're trying to engage the reader. You're trying to get them to pay attention to you, to whatever it is that you're saying. So in the infomercial, we started with the question, has this ever happened to you? Which is a way of, again, sort of engaging the reader and making the stakes personal for the reader. So this is one possible technique, and it's a technique that infomercials often use. But there's a ton of other ways to get the audience to pay attention to you. So some of the things we frequently see in writing are opening with a startling statistic or fact. You could open with a quotation. You could begin with a humorous anecdote, something like this. You could also, if you're working in a visual medium like video or something like that, you could start with an image that's going to capture the reader's attention. Maybe something bright and colorful, maybe something bizarre or absurd, something like that. So this is a way of getting the reader engaged right off the bat. The second stage in the AIDA program is called is interest. So the I is for interest, generating the reader's interest in whatever it is that you're talking about. So here, the key thing is that you're giving the reader information about the subject itself. So the subject in itself, you're giving us data, you may be giving us details, you may be explaining what exactly it is, context, reasoning, rationale, all of this stuff. The stuff that we need to know in order to understand the product you're selling, the position that you're promoting, the idea that you want us to consider, the question you want us to ask, whatever it is. So that's the second phase. So you've gotten our attention, now you're providing us with the information that we need to understand the subject. Then the third phase, and this is where we really shift to the persuasive element. The D stands for desire. So you want to evoke the reader's desire. If you can make the reader want whatever it is that you are trying to get them to buy, believe, think, question, whatever it is, they're more likely to pursue it. So they're more likely to be self-motivated if you can show the reader why they should want the thing that you want them to want, if that makes sense to you. So, in the infomercial example, for instance, we got the offer doubled. So you get 2 sets of videos, plus you get the bonus Guy Fieri video. And this is, again, another technique that infomercials tend to use very often, is they'll double your order, or they'll triple your order, they'll throw in other things, they'll make it cheaper, but you have to call within a certain amount of time. And this is, again, another sort of technique for getting a reader or a viewer to do what you want them to do fairly quickly. And there's a lot of different ways that you can approach evoking desire in your reader. But one of the things that you want to do to make this an effective technique is you want to make sure you're writing from a you perspective. So this is something that I've talked about in a number of other videos, and it's one of the key elements to successful persuasive writing, is as a writer, I want to be thinking not about what I'm concerned about, or what I'm worried about, or what I want, but I want to think what you, the reader, is going to want. And I want to shape my appeals, I want to shape my arguments, I want to shape my discussion based on the needs and interests of you, the reader. So what is it that you want? What is it that you need? What is it that you believe? What is it that you're going to be persuaded by? And I, as the writer, want to anticipate that stuff and shape my writing based on that. So that's the third phase of the AIDA structure. And then the last phase, the wrap-up, is action. So this is the final A. And action is the sort of concrete thing that I want readers in the world to do. So in the infomercial example, it was call this phone number, pay this amount of money, whatever it is. So presumably by this point, by the time I get to stage 4, I've already given you information about the subject and convinced you that you want it. So now the question you would be asking is, now that I want this thing, how do I get it, or how do I do it? How do I achieve the thing I now desire to achieve? And this is where the action phase comes in. We also often see this in political speeches, like when a politician ends with a call to action. Go out and vote, support this policy, vote for me, whatever it is. This is an action statement. This is a place where the speaker is giving us something they want us to do in the world as a way of achieving the thing they have, in principle, convinced us to want. So this is a way of organizing persuasive texts. Again, it works really well for sales. It works really well when you're trying to get someone to do a specific thing. But even for less sort of concrete, action-driven persuasive writing, this is still a fairly effective approach. And again, it lends itself to sales, but you can apply this in a broad spectrum of types of persuasive writing. Thanks for watching.